How are we getting on, folks? Look, I think today has to be definitely one of the better days. I don't think I'm ever going to have as good a day as I did today. We're only one, I suppose, selection let me down. We had, I think it was three winners and two seconds, or it could have been two winners and 2 seconds from five that ran. For those of you who were on, that included the likes of 3-1 winners like Abbey Magic, What's Your Status? The each way ones, both of them were 5-1. Smith's Corner, very unlucky. He probably would have won only for, I suppose, slipping up coming around the final bend. Conor Orr was very lucky to stay on. As well as that, shedding for Jordan Canavan, it was absolutely heartbreaking. But in fairness to Jordan, he could do no more. Really and truly, he put in a very, very good run on shedding. I was just absolutely sickened for Jordan more so than anyone else. The fact that I suppose he just deserves so much to be on the back of a winner, and shedding just keeps, I suppose, throwing a spanner in the works for him. But look at no national hunt racing on tomorrow. It's the night of the 18th of October, I think it is. And we're going to look at four more races for the Cheltenham Festival. This is all, I suppose, down to, I suppose, the promotion of this book from Hacked Up Racing Gifts. The road to Cheltenham 2020-2021. Really and truly, at the end of the day, it's definitely a must-have for not only, I suppose, newcomers but seasoned veterans as well, that just, I suppose, have a little bit of a tendency to struggle when the day comes on or at the Cheltenham Festival. There's an awful lot of these that have some very interesting stats, lots of facts and figures, and plenty of, I suppose, guidelines to help you on your way to be picking out winner after winner at the end of the day. Now we've four races. I picked two chase races and two, I suppose, hurdle races for this episode. I'll be making a playlist now with the previous video for the Cheltenham Festival, and I suppose anyone that wants to keep coming back, reviewing, all that sort of crack, you can do so through the playlist. So it's going to be very, very handy for all of you. Now, first race off, we're going to look at the National Hunt Chase. This was won by Ravenhill last year for the Gordon Elliott team. We'll just quickly go through the market here now. I'm going off the Bet365 anti-post market. Fury Road, Monkfish, Latest Exhibition, Galvin, all of those are 12-1. They're all conjoined favourites at the minute. Then you've got the likes of Run Wild Fred, Kraken Smart, Court Made. Those three are 16-1 each. Then you have Deal Kerr, Commander of Fleet, A1, or Deal Kerr and Commander of Fleet are both 20-1. Then you have the likes of A1, the Big Getaway, the Big Breakaway, Next Destination, Column of Fire, 5 o'clock, Early Doors, and Emmy Tom, all trading at 25-1. Now, people are going to ask me which of those am I going to be looking at. Absolutely none of them, I will say. This race is known to be a race that favourites don't tend to turn up on the day. I'm actually really drawn to a horse called Aforementioned at 33-1. I think this race is absolutely perfect for him. He's a 7-year-old. Well, he will be an 8-year-old by the time the race is run. Personally speaking, that's an ideal age for this race. I think Ravenhill was 8 when he ran, and he absolutely hosed up that day last year. The like I said, the favourites don't tend to win too many of these. I think 3 of the last 12 or 4 of the last 12 have won as favourites. He's rated high enough. I think he's rated in around the 138, 139. Normally winners come around that mark of this race. They're in between, I think, 138 and above. This lad is I think 38 or 39, but he definitely has the scope to improve. 9 of the last 12 winners were sent chasing before October. Now, here's where things are getting interesting now. You look at his last two runs. One of them was in Clonmel, where he bet Watcher Status, who won very, very convincingly there today. Last race was when he won the Munster National in Limerick. Really and truly, this horse looks absolutely made for it. Another interesting fact of this, Gordon Elliott, I think over the last, well, whatever length of time this race has been run, Gordon Elliott has a 40% strike rate with the runners that he sends over for this race. So at the end of the day, look at Gordon Elliott likes to have his horses ready for this race. Favourites don't often tend to win. Really and truly, when you look at the market, and you're looking through all Gordon Elliott's runners, the likes of Fury Road, Galvin, I'm trying to think. I think Commander of Fleet is one of them. I'm not 100% sure. The Big Getaway is Willie Mullins, if I'm not mistaken. Column of Fire, I think, is Gordon Elliott's as well. There's a number of these in here from Gordon Elliott. And really and truly, the only one of them that would, I suppose, fall under the class of the 9 of the 12 previous winners for this particular race would be Galvin, but Galvin is currently trading around favourite, and like I said before, favourites don't often tend to win these races. More than likely he will go off favourite. The fact that he's in such good form and the fact that he's winning nearly every race that comes around, that will definitely, I suppose, up his price or shorten his price more so than anything else. Aforementioned, look at the fact that he is clear as day in serious form. The trip should be fine. Look at he hasn't ran around Cheltenham yet, so we don't really know what he's going to be like. But I wouldn't be too worried about him. I think he should be fine. It looks definitely very much so to his liking. The fact that he won around Clonmel very convincingly the day he bet Watcher Status, and Watcher Status, you can look it up the results there today. He won absolutely hands and heels. I definitely think aforementioned here at 33-1 is the best value bet of the race. When you're looking through it all, you're trying to pick out bits of form and bits of everything. The fact that October is nearly over, and the fact that stat of 9 out of the last 12 runners, so a 75%, I suppose, booster more so than anything else than a chance of, say, the eventual winners having their first run over chases around October time. So look, there's nothing else really there. Court Made, I suppose, a little bit interesting there at 16-1, but I don't know. I definitely think this aforementioned could be something very special, and 33-1 is definitely way overpriced in my opinion. Now, next race off, we are going to take a look at the Ryanair. Look, at it was possibly one of the most, I suppose, gut-wrenching, nervous races of the whole meeting for me last year. Anyway, I was on Min that day, and I will admit I was struggling to find winners, and seeing Min and St. Calvados coming absolutely hosing up, I had my heart in my mouth. But we may as well run through the market here now. There's giant favourites here now at the minute. Min and Lost in Translation are currently trading around 8-1. Sam Crow, Allaho, and Monolith are all 10s. While Aplutar is 12-1. Really and truly, they're the main market here that look to be, I suppose, the most likely ones to be going to this route. There's an awful lot of these in here that look to be going to a different route, or I suppose a different race more so than anything else. But Min definitely looks to be the one to, I suppose, back up the last year's running. Really and truly, he is the one they all have to beat. He is the best horse over 2 mile 4. 2 mile in the Champion Chase was too much for him, but look, at Min is just something really special. I think he is going to be very special for the coming years ahead, especially at this trip. I think it's going to be very, very hard to beat him. 8-1 looks to be a very good price at the minute. I think he went off around 3-1 or 7-2 for the Cheltenham Festival last year. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be very hard. I definitely think Lost in Translation is going to go a Gold Cup, so you can sort of write him off for the Ryanair. You have the likes of Sam Crow, who possibly will be going to the Ryanair. I don't know, but it definitely looks to be more his, I suppose, his trip. Alaho, hard to know really at the end of the day. The fact that Min had him beaten the last time, it just shows that it's clear as day that he is the better horse. Monolly as well. Look at I think 3 miles is definitely Monolly's more favoured trip. Actually, I think I have a Plutar and Alaho mixed up. I think the two, Monolly and Alaho, were facing up when Champ stormed up. I think that's it. But yeah, I wouldn't be drawn to those anyway. And like I said, a Plutar 12-1. I don't know. I don't think this horse is as good as people make him out to be. I know he is a very, very decent horse, but he's nowhere near as good as Min. I don't care what anyone says. Min is just a class above the rest of these. An interest in each way shout here would definitely be Chris's Dream. This horse is trading at around 25-1. Now, look at Chris's Dream will have to, I suppose, have everything playing into his own hands. He'll want absolutely bottomless ground. The softer the better for him, really and truly. He will set off, I suppose, a fairly brisk pace. More than likely he's going to be going to the Tri-Town, then probably the Red Mills in Goran Park before, I suppose, the Cheltenham Festival. The Gold Cup was way too out of his, like he was just way too much out of his depth at the end of the day in the Gold Cup, even though he was running fairly consistently, and he did finish ahead of Real Steel, who put in a mighty performance. But I suppose if the rain comes, and if I'm trying to predict the weather as well as the winner in this race here, but if the rain comes, say before the Cheltenham Festival, and it does soften the ground, it's going to be very, very hard to stop Chris's Dream here. On his day and on these conditions, Chris's Dream is as good, if not better, than these. Really and truly, he's the only one here that absolutely loves a good slog, good, soft, heavy ground. He just, I suppose, he's just the sort of a special breed where he's so workmanlike. It's so, I suppose, commendable. 25-1 is a very, very good shout for each way. What I'm thinking of here is the fact that he's going to the Tri-Town and then going on to the Red Mills. Possibly, I don't know. I know he's definitely going for the Tri-Town, and this is his target. There's an interview with Robbie Power there. I think it was on Boyle Sports. They were talking about Chris's Dream, and he was saying that the Ryanair is going to be where he's going to be faced. But I definitely think if the ground comes up in his favour, 25-1 is massive. I would be sort of trying to play a bit of catch and mouse. I'd be sort of thinking about like cashing out, possibly if the weather doesn't hold up and if the ground is going to be getting, I suppose, good or whatever it is, and then possibly throwing that money onto Min. The fact that Chris's Dream is more than likely going to be the winner of the Tri-Town and more than likely going to be the winner of the Red Mills, his price is going to shorten massively. And when it does, the cash out value will be worth a little bit more than what you'd be putting in. I don't exactly know how much he will, I suppose, drop down, but I definitely think, look, he is definitely worth an each way at 25-1. But for me, it looks to be Min's race all day. I definitely think that he has the beating of all these listed here. I know there's not an awful lot of these not going to turn up, but if the race was run tomorrow and that lineup was there at 2 mile 4, men would win hands and heels, in my opinion. Now, the next race now, the Mare's Hurdle. This one here is very much a tough race to predict. Obviously, look at you have Honeysuckle at 7-2. Benny de Joux 5-1. Avoid at all costs, I would say. Concertista 8-1. Avoid for now. Damn the Company 10-1. Lorena 12s. Black Tears 14s. Possibly an each way shout there. Maria's Rock 16-1 and El File at 20-1 definitely looks to be the best each way shout here in this one. This race has the potential to absolutely fall asunder. When you look at the routes these mares can go at the end of the day, you look at Honeysuckle, she could go chasing. There's no reason why she won't go chasing. I think the Mare's Chase would be a great race for her in time to come, but will Kenneth Alexander want to keep her, there to, possibly back up her win and do back to back and go for her crown again? Benny de Joux will more than likely go Stayers Hurdle. It definitely looks to be the way that Willie and the team will be going. I can't see them going back to this trip, especially with Honeysuckle in the mix. They couldn't beat her once. They probably won't beat her again. Benny de Joux is getting on a little bit in life, and she is the best over 3 miles at the end of the day. There's no doubt about it. She is a force to be reckoned with at 3 miles, but I think this trip is a little bit too short for her. Concertista is definitely an interesting one, but certainly not at the minute, especially for an anti-post bet. And let me tell you why. Concertista has the form of a yak outside of Cheltenham. She could be thrown in to a very, very easy race, but just not turn up. For whatever reason it is, we don't know, but she has a problem of going and actually winning the races outside of Cheltenham. When she goes to Cheltenham, she will absolutely hose up. She's definitely well worth an each way on the day, but at an anti-post bet, it's the lay of the meeting at the end of the day. When you think about it this way, look at, if you were backing her at 8-1 now and she starts losing races, that means you're still on at 8-1 and you're evidently losing money. So every time she loses a race, she might go out to 10-1, then go out to 12s, then 16s, maybe even 20s, depending how many times she runs. If she doesn't win, you're looking at losing a serious amount of money at the end of the day. I would definitely consider having a niche way betting her on the day itself or the night before, but until then, she is definitely a lay for anti-post. I definitely think 8-1 is way too short for her. Damn the Company. I don't know. I don't really rate her in this sort of race, especially against Honeysuckle. It shouldn't happen. Lorena, no. Black Tears has a decent each way chance. She was, I think it was the Mayor's Novice, or else it was the was it the Coral Cup? I don't know which one it was, but she ran a very decent race in the Cheltenham Festival last year, and definitely going back to Mayor's Company would be an ideal, I suppose, sort for her. She definitely looks to be a bright star for the future, and 14-1 definitely looks to be a very nice each way bet for her. Maria's Rock 16-1. I think it's hard to know. I don't think it's got the capabilities of actually getting into places for this particular race, but El File definitely looks to be one that's well worth getting an each way shout here. This one here is very much the dark horse of the race. An awful lot of these have a very good, I suppose, profile to them, but whether they turn up at Cheltenham or not it's a different story. El File definitely looks to have a good profile for the Cheltenham Festival. She looks like she's going to have a fairly, I suppose, nice opening and then move on to bigger and better company with every race she runs, and she will be primed and ready to go then for the Cheltenham Festival. 20-1 is definitely well worth an each way shout, but I wouldn't be going too mad considering the fact that this is a race that looks to, I suppose, have a potential to fall absolutely asunder here, and whether all of these will go or even any of them will go is a different story. I know Honeysuckle was more than likely go, but she has just so many options. Benny the Jew has so many options. Concertista is sort of limited, but at an each or an anti-post bet, she's not worth it. Lorena looks to be a bit of a yak around, I suppose, Cheltenham. Um, then you have, I suppose, the likes of Black Tears, definitely well worth in each way. Look at it, it's so hard to call this particular race. I definitely think if Honeysuckle goes for here, she is going to do back to back. There's no doubt about it. I don't think Benny de Joux is going to go there, and the rest of the field have a very much tough task ahead of them. Trying to even put it up to Honeysuckle. Um, yeah, I definitely think that's the way it's going to go. I think Honeysuckle is a fairly nice price for an anti-post bet at the minute at 7-2. You have the likes of Black Tears, a fairly nice each way shout at 14-1, and Elfile is definitely the dark horse of the race at 20-1. Finally, then we are going to go on to the Stairs Hurdle. This one here is very much interesting in my personal opinion. Paisley Park currently trading around 7-1. Benny de Joux, great price at 8-1. Time Hill, another brilliant price each way at 11-1. Honeysuckle probably won't go this route, but she's 12-1. Lisnagar Oscar, last year's winner, at 14-1. And McFabulous at 14-1, for me personally, looks to be a very, very interesting sort here. When you look at it, when you look at the whole lot here, Benny de Joux definitely looks to be the main one that's standing out here. Obviously, look at Paisley Park is the best horse of this field on his day, but I think his day has come. At the end of the day, look at he has a serious heart problem, and to say he's going to have to come back past his best is putting it, I suppose, mildly. At the end of the day, like, he has to come back now with serious heart problems and face the likes of Benny de Joux, who is arguably possibly the best staying hurdler at the present moment. You have to face the likes of Lisnagar Oscar, who, look at last year's winner, but the race did fall apart. But a winner is a winner at the end of the day, and this one is reigning champion. Then you have the likes of, I suppose, look at Honeysuckle probably won't go here, but McFabulous definitely looks to be a very much interesting one, given the mayor's allowance as well. You cast your mind back to, I think it was Kempton, the last time or the second last time it ran at 2 mile 5. And it absolutely hosed up. It could have nearly gone round another time. It could have nearly, I suppose, ran around the 3.5 miles, and still win by a very, very cozy margin. Really and truly, it didn't break a sweat that day. It didn't break a sweat the last day either. It looks to be a very much interesting sort here, and 14-1 definitely looks to be a nice price. When you're looking for the winner, personally, I can't look past Benny de Joux. I definitely think this is the route that she's going to go on. I think Willie Mullins tried his best to beat Honeysuckle in Cheltenham, and I know the race sort of fell apart. The fact that Robbie Power, I suppose, came off a true line and opened up the rail for Honeysuckle, but Benny de Joux had a right good crack at her, and she had plenty of time to get past her, but she just couldn't. At the end of the day, she may have lost 3 lengths, but Benny de Joux, if she wanted to pass her, she would. She has that class about her. 3 miles definitely looks to be more her trip. 8-1 looks to be a brilliant price now. I definitely think come the day, especially when you take the likes of Paisley Park, if he even goes to this race now, said by next year, next March, I definitely think he might be going. I think he might have seen his day, and yeah, I can't see him. I can't see him beating Benny de Joux. I would love to see it. Don't get me wrong, and it'd be a great story, especially with the owner losing his sight and all that. But um, it's just, I suppose, look at it's so, when you're doing anti-post bets, you want to have the trust and you want to have the know to, I suppose, back horses that are definitely going to be going to these races. I cannot sit here and say Paisley Park is definitely going to the Stayers Hurdle this year or next year. That's just something I can't do. I definitely think Benny de Joux will be going, and therefore 8-1 is a brilliant price, because come the day she definitely won't be, I suppose, trading at such big odds. Um, Time Hill is a very interesting one here. You think about, say, last year's Cheltenham Festival. It was so unlucky. It was absolutely hosing up by the likes of Monkfish, Fury Road. Um, who was the other one? Was it? It wasn't 5 o'clock, but it was someone else. Um, the name has just gone out of my head, whichever one it was. But it ended up finishing fourth because it got bumped twice, or it got closed off twice, and it had to go completely around the I suppose the body of the field at that stage. Really and truly, look at Time Hill. Definitely looks to be a potential stayer. He's a winner of a pint to pint in Ireland. That definitely does speak volumes of colours. 11-1 is definitely a great shout. When you're looking at Listigar Oscar, it's definitely an interesting price at 14-1 for the reigning champion. But at the end of the day, was it only champion, I suppose, because Paisley Park didn't turn up? I don't know. I I definitely think he's not as good as 14-1 would suggest. I know that sounds a little bit harsh, but if it was 20-1 or 25-1, I could definitely make a case for it, but that will never happen considering it's a champion going back to defend its crown. Um, yeah, I definitely think McFabulous at 14-1 would be a better, I suppose, each way shout here, but altogether it just looks to be Benny de Joux's race to lose. I think that's all I have. Yeah, that's all I have here now, but we may as well give a final plug to this particular book. This one here is, I don't know if you can see it or not, it's the Hacked Up Racing, the Road to Cheltenham 2021. There's a serious amount of info on this, lads. At the end of the day, look at, you have the likes of Supreme, the Arkle, Festival Trophy, Champion Hurdle, Mayor's Hurdle. All the races are lined up in here, and if you turn at the back of the page, then there's about 10 or 12 or 15 pages here, and it's all stats, and it's all well rehearsed stats, and it's just such knowledge that you couldn't have off the top of your head. I certainly wouldn't anyway. Like, you see me, I'm scrolling through all these, and these are all simply stats, and then you come to a race at Cheltenham, but you've this amount of stats and races and everything else like that, and like, at the end of the day, when you're looking for winners and when you're looking for, I suppose, diamonds in the rough, you cannot leave this book, I suppose, without even considering buying it. It only costs a tenner, £10. I don't know what it is in euros, but look at, I definitely think it's well worth it. I bought it last year and it helped me out big time. It's definitely going to help me out big time again now this year. Really and truly, when you're looking for winners and when you're looking for big price horses and good stats and good, I suppose, well rehearsed stats, this one here is the one for you. But look, I'm going to leave it there. We're touching on nearly half an hour now, so if you're still with us, I hope you all enjoyed. I'm going to leave a link in the description below for the Hacked Up, the shop website, and you should be able to find the Hacked Up Racing book. Don't just take my word for it. There's an awful lot of people in, say, this line of work that have, I suppose, gotten this book and have stood by it. Like myself, I definitely think it's well worth your tenner, and you will be definitely paid back at the end of the day. I'm going to leave it there. Make sure, if you liked this video, make sure to like, share and subscribe. Keep, I suppose, following the work, and keep, I suppose, hopefully come next week it'll be as good as the week we had, and plenty of winners and plenty of, I suppose, happy days more so than losing days. I really hope the people that got on board had a very, very healthy bank balance this week, and Yeah, look at. Thanks very much. Keep liking, sharing, subscribing, and I'll see you back tomorrow for Tipperary's racing on Tuesday.